Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Now, onto the video. Okay, so in today's video, what we're going to be making is homemade gravy. It's pretty simple, straightforward. But a lot of people do have problems and issues with making gravy. So I just wanted to do that on my channel. So the ingredients that you'll need, and I'm showing you here, is oil. You can use vegetable oil, but I'm using canola oil. You'll need flour, the chicken bouillon, chicken stock, either one of those. You can use the cubes or the powder, or you can use beef. Those are the two that I typically use, even though they do have vegetable bouillon, and they have sorry, they also have pork. But these are the two that I usually use. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut up my onion, slice up my onion. And I'm going to be using half an onion. So I don't have any specific measurements when it comes to making my gravy. Reason being is, you're making different amounts of gravy. All families are not the same size. Everybody doesn't eat gravy. So it just depends on how much you're going to be making. For this video, I used about a quarter cup of canola oil and a quarter cup of flour. So, and that just depends upon your family size. I would say 1-to-1 ratio. And we're going to turn our oven, we're going to turn our stove up to medium heat and put our oil in the pan so that it can start heating up. And once your oil heats up, we're going to go ahead and add our onions to the oil. I did add mine a little early. However, I just let it heat up and cook them. So when it comes to the oil, if you fry something, you can also use that oil that you fried your food in to make your gravy. To me, it's more flavorful. I like to use the oil if I fry something to make my gravy. So yeah, y'all, I just threw the onions in there and splashed oil all over the stove. But I digress. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and let those onions cook a little bit. And then once those they start turning brown, a color that I like, we're gonna go ahead and add our flour. And again, it's about a quarter cup of flour that I will be adding to this gravy. And what we're making at that point, or what that becomes, is a roux. So the roux is what your gravy consists of. So it's the oil product and the flour. That's your roux. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and oh yeah, y'all, and I'm so sorry, I forgot the main ingredient to tell y'all. Of course, you need water, y'all. You need water. So with my water, I just put it in a bowl, and I'll be adding the chicken bouillon, which is like the powder that I have. I'm gonna add that directly into the water. And I also wanted to show you all that I'm going to be adding pepper to my gravy as well. When it comes to seasoning my gravy and gravy that I'm making homemade, if I use like a bouillon or a stock or something like that, that is really the only seasoning I use, and add pepper. Now, if I was making like oxtails or neck bones or something like that, and I wanted to make the gravy in the pot, those seasonings would be my flavoring. I wouldn't necessarily add any bouillon to that specific food item. But yeah, so we're gonna let the onions continue to cook just a little bit more, and again, that's preference as well. You cook them to your liking. And at this point, the house was smelling so good, y'all. The house smelled so good, and I was only making gravy. Like, really, girl? It was like I had put a whole meal all in through this house. But So now we're going to add the gravy, and that's about a 1/4 cup of gravy. I'm going to mix that in, and you want to make sure that all of your flour is in your gravy. Some people have like their flour and oil to be a little bit more runny. I like mine to be a little on the thicker side, so I really try to have the flour soak up the oil. That's how I do it. And then you're going to go ahead and let that cook down. You're going to cook your flour, and if y'all know, flour is raw and it needs to be cooked. So and even it's going to be cooked in the gravy, but it does need to be cooked. So we're going to cook that down. And where your color really comes from when it comes to the gravy is letting your roux or your flour and oil stay in the pan and continue in brown. So the longer you have it in there, the browner is going to begin to turn. So and again, personal preference. Everything is personal preference, you know, because we're not all the same. We don't all like the same stuff. So you're going to cook your flour in oil, and in this case I have onions in there. It's not necessary, it's optional, but we're going to let that brown. So you don't want it too brown. The browner it is, the darker your gravy will be. So I usually have like let it brown more for if I want to use make beef gravy, but since we're making chicken gravy, I'm not going to let it turn super brown. Do not let it burn though, okay? Because you will have that burnt flavor to your gravy. So right now, it's not quite a peanut butter color. Close. It looks like it on here, but it's not quite there. So y'all, I'm pouring the chicken bouillon and water into the flour and oil mixture with the onions, and I'm just pouring it all over the stove, y'all. It was a disaster. Well, it was almost a disaster. Very close. So don't be like me, okay? Let your liquid go into the pot or the pan. But I cleaned up the mess slightly. I finished it after I was done with the gravy, but so yeah. So now with this, you just let it cook. It's going to continue to thicken up, and you don't want to add too much liquid to your roux, because in that case it's not difficult to fix it, but you do a little bit more. Well, for me, if I added too much water and it was too liquidy or too runny, I would mix some oil and some flour together, get that incorporated, and then add it to my gravy to thicken it up more. But just to alleviate that step, do not over add the liquid. You can add more if needed. You can't take it away, okay? Can't take the liquid away. Once it's in there, it's in there, but you can't add more. So we're gonna go ahead and add the pepper, and then we'll let our gravy go ahead and continue to cook and thicken up. And I'll save that liquid off to the side just in case I needed to add more once my gravy thickened up. And when you let your gravy sit on the stove or let it sit, it naturally thickens up. It's gonna thicken up. So you'll need to add some anyway, okay? If you're not eating it right away, gravy thickens up. But yeah, so that is our gravy. That is how you make it. And then yeah, it's ready to be served over rice, mashed potatoes. You're ready to smother your chicken, smother pork chops, you know, all of that good stuff. And now I'm making myself hungry again. Okay, so with this gravy, I went ahead and baked some chicken legs, and once I finished baking those, I took them out, put them in the gravy. You won't see that in this video, but I did utilize that gravy. Made some chicken legs, rice, and green beans. And there is a way to make quick gravy. How you make quick gravy is mix some oil and flour together. You'll boil your water with your chicken bouillon. And once that water boils, you'll add your oil and flour to the water. Whisk it up and voila, it's thick. It's very quick. It doesn't take as long as this gravy. Yeah, so you won't see it in here, but I just thought I'd tell you all you can make it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have not already, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And you all, I will see you in my next video.